All right, we're back. I almost started to cast there without you guys having any Dota 2 sounds. That would have been a disaster.
Remaining.
But we're back. Finally, we figured out.
Remaining.
Well, the tournament figured out what they were going to be doing with.
Reserve time.
Well, just making sure that the North American rejects were able to play without having to worry too much about DDoS issues and stuff like that.
Pick.
And we're here. We're ready for our third game. It sounds like What Is Hip helped those guys out. And looks like we've got Fogged back on North American Rejects. MSS is playing as well. Korok, Chad, and I don't know who gosh darn it is. So maybe we can find out when we hop in game. Maybe that's someone different. Maybe it's not. I have no idea.
10 seconds remaining.
But yeah, they're going to be going up against the NEL Goons, which is the last team in our Group D. We haven't seen them yet. Right now, unfortunately, North American Rejects are sitting at 1-1, thanks to how that last game went. Now we've got top 5 at 1-0. And who am I forgetting? Who was the first team that we saw tonight? Oh boy, it's a disaster. It's gonna be Void Boys. I didn't check. Don't think that I had to check there. I remembered. It's Void Boys who are also sitting at 0-1 right now.
5 seconds remaining.
Well, this is going to be our last game of the night, and then we're going to have some more games tomorrow. But this is going to be the last that we see of the North American Rejects for the group stage. So they're going to look to want to win this one so they can move on to the playoffs. As well, only the top 2 in the group advance, and if they aren't in the top 2, then they're going home. So a win here is very important for the North American Rejects. NEL Goons obviously looking to get off to a good start. And I'm pretty sure you recognize most of the names on the side of NEL Goons. Of course, I Annihilate, Bloody Nine, Ritsu. Diet Coke is F4L. I'm not sure who Duty Free Derek is. I believe he just goes by the name of Duty Free Derek, so it's a name I'm not really familiar with. But he has been playing with this group of guys for NEL Goons, and just a reminder that the NEL Goons were actually the one of the teams that made it through the qualifiers to be added into the group stage. Of course, the other team that qualified was Rebel Des, which unfortunately they didn't do so hot in their group. They finished 0-3 in Group C. But NEL Goons, they stormed their way through the qualifiers, and in the finals, or in I guess the semifinals of the qualifiers, they completely demolished INTZ or INTZ or Z, whether you're American
Reserve time.
Somewhere else in the world that speaks English and actually pronounces it properly, and you pronounce it Z. Either way, they NEL Goons completely walked all over them to get here. So we'll look and see how they're able to match up against the likes of the North American Rejects.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, let's see what we got so far. Troll and Sniper getting removed.
5 seconds remaining.
Not going to see either of those. That's a little bit more standard. But Wisp and Storm Spirit getting banned by NEL Goons, and I believe those were the exact same opening bans that top 5 used last game, if I'm not mistaken. North American Rejects picked up the Zeus and the Clockwork. The NEL Goons went with the Lion and the Bat Rider. Then we had some more bans coming through. So Skywrath and Magnus banned out by the NEL Goons. North American Rejects banning out the Shadow Fiend and the Juggernaut. And now the pick is in their court. Surprisingly, Vengeful Spirit hasn't been touched. Hasn't been picked in the first 4 or banned in the first 8. And there's a Bat Rider on the other side. Is this not... Do you just... I mean, I think you have to pick up the Vengeful Spirit here, don't you?
10
It's such a valuable support.
5
It's actually interesting that the NEL Goons didn't ban out the Vengeful Spirit.
Reserve time.
They banned out the Skywrath, which of course pairs really well with the Clockwork. And they banned out the Magnus. I don't know. Korok did play a really good Magnus in game 1.
Lena.
Lena's going to be the pick for the North American Rejects, and NEL Goons knew exactly what they wanted. They fire back with the Phantom Lancer immediately. Well, is this a core Lena? Is this a support Lena? I don't know. We also don't know what the Zeus is either. And I feel like support Zeus and support Lena really don't work together at all. So one of them has to be a core.
10 seconds remaining.
And they don't work together because how do you set up the Lena stun? You need some kind of guaranteed disable to set up the Lena stun. So that's why it works with someone who can run in and stun, like a Vengeful Spirit. If she's able to run in and stun the target, and then Lena can Light Strike Array to follow up with her stun, then you're gonna be looking pretty good in terms of being able to get a kill. But if you're relying on the Lena to just run in and try and land a Light Strike Array, it's very, very difficult to land one of those on an offlaner or on a whoever, because it's a very easy skill to dodge. So I feel like North American Rejects will look to add a support that's going to pair with the Lena well, if that's what they're looking to do. But I feel like their best option right now is probably to put the Lena in the mid lane, of course Clockwork in the off lane, and then have that Zeus as a support. Question is now if you've got a core Lena and now you pick up the Vengeful Spirit to counter the Bat Rider, are you not too squishy? Because I think you might be. You might be a little...
Disruptor.
You might really struggle going late against the Phantom Lancer, but they're going to pick up the Disruptor, another hero that's actually quite strong against the Bat Rider. It's also strong against the Phantom Lancer as well, so it's a good pickup. It's definitely a good pickup, but they used up all their reserve time. They picked it up at the last second. So they're going to not have much time going forward here. I'm just going to... Holy moly, there's a lot of chat going on here.
5 seconds remaining.
These guys are all friends, so it looks like they're just
Reserve time.
They're just having a chat. It's not anything too serious there. Dazzle's going to be the pick for the NEL Goons. So they've got their second support. So Lion and Dazzle will be their support duo, protecting the Phantom Lancer in the bottom lane. Bat Rider will be their off laner, and they're left looking for a mid. North American Rejects, they have their off laner in the Clockwork. Disruptor and Zeus looking like they're going to be the supports. Lena looking like she's going to be the mid laner. Queen of Pain will be the ban for the North American Rejects.
Team ban.
Now, who do NEL Goons ban out? It's going to be the Anti-Mage.
Dire team.
So they're looking to remove a hero that's going to be able to go late against the Phantom Lancer. Slark has been predicted in chat. It's a hero that's not really that vulnerable to a Bat Rider. Of course, if you get your Dark Pact off, it'll just remove the lasso, so it's good in that regard. It's going to be quite difficult for NEL Goons to kill a Slark, that's for sure. Does have to be a little bit wary of Finger coming out at a bad moment before he's able to get the Shadow Dance off.
5 seconds remaining.
Besides that, it's certainly not a bad pick. Well, will they go with it? No, they're going to go with the Spectre. I actually don't think the Slark was that bad of an option there. I do worry maybe a little bit about it going late against the Phantom Lancer. And you don't really have any way to deal with the illusions as a Slark, but you don't either as a Spectre. Oh well, they went with the Spectre. I think it's a fair option as well for them to pick. Now NEL Goons, they've got a lot of reserve time to go here, so they may just choose it to make up their mind and figure out who they want to go mid. Problem is that they don't know if it's up against the Lena or the Zeus. And they're actually very different heroes to play against in the mid lane. Of course, Lena is one of those heroes that's going to be most likely pushing your lane quite a bit. Zeus, not so much. He actually struggles a little bit when you push the lane on him. You're also going to have to basically bring a little bit more regen to the mid lane going up against a Zeus than you would going up against a Lina, for the most part. You might look for a little bit of damage too. Because you got a Phantom Lancer, but he takes a little bit of time to get going, and they're going to go with the Templar Assassin, so that's exactly what it's going to be. A hero that's going to kind of provide you with a little bit of that damage. You've got Lockdown with the Batrider, but by having Lockdown and by picking the Batrider in the offlane, you kind of lack a little bit of damage coming out from your offlaner. And North American Rejects lack damage too, because, well, they've gone with the Clockwork, but it's going to be Chad on the Clockwork? MSS on the Spectre? Huh. Looks like they may have just completely mixed up roles here, or they are doing some really weird stuff with their lanes.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, we're about to hop on into this, and we'll introduce the teams and the players and try to figure out where everyone's going. So on our Radiant side, and I am extremely zoomed out. What's going on here? I don't know. We'll zoom in. Either way, on our Radiant side, we have the NEL Goons. Playing their Templar Assassin is going to be I Annihilate. Bloody Nine's going to be taking control of that Batrider in the offlane. Dazzle is going to be played by Duty Free Derek. The Lion's going to be played by Diet Coke, but that's also F4L. Ritsu is going to be on the Phantom Lancer. Funny chat coming out there. For the Dire side, we have the North American Rejects version 2. Chad's going to be taking control of that Clockwork in the offlane, so they have switched up roles a little bit. Zeus is going to be played by, gosh darn it, Korok is going to be taking control of the Lina. MSS, or Perfect Time, is going to be playing the Spectre. And Fog is going to be running around on the Raptor with the Disruptor. Well, we've got the North American Rejects trying to maintain control of the top rune here, devoting 4 heroes up there, but it looks like the NEL Goons not going to contest, as they're just going to hang out here in the bottom. Once again, this is the Dota 2 Canada Cup, our last match of the day for Group D. We will resume again tomorrow for 3 more games of Group D, but this will be the final match for the North American Rejects, as they're already 1-1 in the group, so they're going to look to move to 2-1 with a win here. Well, in the top lane, it looks like we are going to have the Spectre, Disruptor, and Zeus going up against the Batrider, so kind of what we expected. In mid lane, we got the Templar Assassin going up against the Lina. And in the bottom lane, we're going to have the Clockwork going up against the Phantom Lancer, the Lion, and eventually the Dazzle, as he's just kind of moving around here. If there's any hero that will be moving around quite a bit in the laning phase, it will be that Lion. But somehow I just missed First Blood again. Yikes. As Fog managed to catch out the Batrider. Not really sure how that happened, but obviously the Batrider playing a little bit too crazy there. As he's got Sticky Napalm skilled at 1 there, so obviously he was probably playing a little bit aggressive and didn't have Firefly to escape, and Fog was able to trap him and bring him back with the glimpse. It looks like Korok has taken a good amount of damage in the mid lane, but so is I Annihilate. We saw a little bit of these trades early on in our previous game, as I'm missing another kill. Ritsu is going to get one on Chad in the bottom lane. Alright, we're 0 for 2, but we're going to get the third. I believe. I believe, and I'm just going to look at the mid lane, because it looks like Iolite is going to go down next. There we go. We got one, boys. We're pro. We're going pro. We're moving on up in the world. Well, 2-minute runes are about to spawn. FRL is going to be camping the bottom one, and the top one's going to get camped by Korok. Korok will actually get a rune, which will be invisibility, which he'll put in his bottle. Of course, F4L got a rune as well, but it's a bounty rune. It's not a typical rune. And Chad's getting wrapped around here. FRL with the stun. We'll stun him up. Cogs have already been laid down, but that's not really going to help him. His duty-free Derek will get the kill that time. Now that Invis will get used by Korok as he steps up onto the high ground here, but I Annihilate will still play a little bit safe there, and Korok, I mean, he's not going to miss the last hits. So he's going to break that Invis, come out immediately. Well, Bloody Nine looking to soak a little bit of XP here from the low ground. Now he'll even pop the Firefly and come up and contest. Try and get as much of the CS as he can. Fortunately, didn't get the CS there on the big bird.
Ours.
Some more damage getting exchanged between these two mid laners. As Korok's starting to really dominate the lane, and I've laned against Korok a lot, especially going back to our Han days, and he is a very aggressive player when it comes to the mid lane. As MSS gets another kill on Bloody Nine in the top lane. Yeah, Korok very, very aggressive in how he lanes, and oftentimes you can bait him into playing over aggressive and getting punished for it. And I Annihilate may look to do that, as FRL was trying to set something up there, but when he came in and threw out the stun, it was unfortunately off the mark. But I Annihilate steps up, gets a little meld attack there, and Korok takes a good looking. What is FRL doing? It looks like he wants to try and wrap around. He's going to stack the Ancient Camp and wait for the 4-minute rune, which Korok is going to go for, but FRL is going to get this. It's going to be a haste. And now Korok could be in trouble. Will I Annihilate come from the mid lane? And indeed he will. Now Korok still playing so aggressive. He knows that his allies are coming to support him. But now maybe I Annihilate's put himself in a bad position, but two heroes are getting quite low on the side of North American Rejects. I Annihilate will get a kill, and now will they get one on Korok as well, as FRL still hasted, but oh my goodness, incredible kinetic field going down there, and that will just barely keep Korok alive. And that's a little bit of what I was talking about. Korok, really an aggressive player, and sometimes it kind of comes back to bite him in the ass, as even his support players came over there and then they played aggressive with him, but it was a 2v3 scenario, and they ended up losing a hero and almost losing a second, as Korok was sent back to base with a very, very small sliver of health. But he'll TP back to the mid lane. Didn't even regen all the way up to full before he TP'd back, making sure that he wasn't missing any of that CS and any of that XP from the creep wave as it was approaching his tower. That's one of the things that you always want to do. If you've killed the enemy hero or if you sent them back to Fountain, you typically want to push the wave as fast as you can to get it under towers, to get the tower clearing it as fast as possible, so that that hero that's out of the lane is going to be missing XP. And well, as much XP and as much gold as possible.
Denied.
Well, Ritsu has managed to get a little bit of a gap here to distance himself between, to distance himself from the Spectre, as he's sitting at 41-9 now in CS, but Spectre only at 33-12. Spectre has been a part of 2 kills. Bloody Nine's been dropped twice. The Phantom Lancer was a part of the... Actually, 2 kills as well, as they have gotten the Clockwork one twice in the bottom lane. I was thinking it was just once. Korok trying to land a Light Strike Array there, but just a little bit behind the Dazzle. As, they were both contesting that 6-minute rune, but we've got I Annihilate who's picked up an Invis, and he's going to pop that and try to go on Korok here, who, oh boy, if he steps up and he goes near that Psionic Trap, I think he's pretty much going to be dead, because he's going to be slowed, and that's going to give enough time for FRL to come in, and there we go. We're going to see the Psionic Trap popped, and FRL is going to come in, and Korok's pretty much going to have no way out of this. Good little gank there set up by the 2 heroes on the side of the NEL Goons, as they move out to a lead of 4-3. Well, how's Chad doing? Almost level 6. He's about 5.5 right now. 5 2/3, I guess, is a little bit more accurate. But he's going to look to try and get 6 so he can get a little bit more involved. Notice his skill build, putting 1 point in the Battery Assault, 3 points in the Rocket Flare. That's going to help him control the lane a little bit better. The downside is he's not going to be
Dire's
able
middle
to,
tower
and it's also
is
going to
under
give him a
attack.
little bit of wave clear, but I don't think that's really going to be that important right now. But it does limit his potential to get those 1v1 kills. So he may not actually venture away from that bottom lane as soon as he hits 6. He may choose to stay down there for a little bit. But Chad is now smoked up with Korok, who's made his way down here. As they look to potentially get a gank here. As they're going to run right into F4L in the middle of the jungle. Guna comes out immediately. And, wow, he gets dropped very, very quickly. Good gank there. Good rotation coming out from the North American rejects. Korok taking full advantage of that burst damage coming out from the Laguna this early in the game. And, well, Squishy support's not really able to deal with it. You look at 587 HP on the Dazzle, 644 on the Disruptor, which is, of course, on Korok's team. But 568 on the Lion. You see just how squishy some of these supports are at this point in the game. And you take a look at Laguna's damage, 450 damage. Of course, there is it only does 75% of that because of hero magic resistance. But still, that's a big chunk of those supports' HP. Now it looks like we've got another smoke moving up to the top lane as NEL Goons look to return the favor. As Duty Free Derek is also up here, and they're going to go on to the Spectre. As they're going to stun him up, and they're even going to use the lasso to bring him back. Gosh darn it is there, trying to help out his teammate, but not going to be able to do so. The Dazzle will use the Shallow Grave up on himself, then he's going to heal himself, and you realize he's going to go down. So he actually makes a really smart play there, and what he does is he actually moves back up towards the enemy, realizing he could survive for maybe another attack or two. So he's going to move towards the enemy, and that's going to make them actually make a decision. Are we going to go and just chase this Dazzle, which is a for sure kill, or are we going to get greedy and we're going to try to push up past him and try to get the secondary kill? So he basically creates a situation where there's no way that the opponent is going to be able to get 2 kills. So good little play there, recognizing the situation, recognizing the fact that he was dead, and just, well, putting himself in a better position to die.
Dire's middle tower
So that
is
his
under
team can
attack.
escape. Well, we are at 5-5 right now, and Fogged is sitting on level 6, so Glimpse is starting to get that long range, but now he's got the Static Storm, which is very strong against TA. Of course, if you can catch a TA in a Kinetic Field Static Storm, that TA is going to go down very quickly. You're going to burn through the refraction charges quite quickly, and without TA having anywhere to run, she's kind of going to be a sitting duck. Dazzle just picking up a bounty rune. What is her bottom rune? I think the TA bottled it up. Okay, it was a regen. She's also got a Yasha. So electing to go for that, not going for the Blink Dagger Rush, which isn't really all that popular anymore, but I like to see it. It's for sure the more aggressive build. So you see Chad just kind of sitting here in the trees next to the mid-tier 1 tower as he's waiting for someone to potentially go onto Fogged and then look for the counter engage. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, as the action's going to be happening in the top. As there's been both supports from the NEL Goons that are going on the Spectre, but they're actually going to get picked off here, as there's that Glimpse from the Static Storm working out well for Fogged. He got the Shallow Grave, but there was a TP coming in from Bloody 9 on the creep, on the Batrider, but didn't got cancelled, so he wasn't able to come in and join his teammates there. And that meant instead of them getting an easy kill on the Spectre, they ended up losing a hero.
Dire's bottom tower is
now it
under
looks like
attack.
we're going to have 3 heroes from the side of the North American Rejects, pushing this tier 1 tower in the top lane. Meanwhile, Annihilate's still cleaning up this ancient camp, so he's going to have no HP to come and fight. But Bloody 9 will try to engage from the side as he's popped the Firefly, but Chad spots him out, spots out the trees going down in the fog, and places a good set of cogs, but unfortunately he will still get picked off. But his teammates did manage to get out of there, so they didn't get what they came from. They didn't get the destruction of the tier 1 tower, but they dealt a lot of damage to it. And while that was going on, they also created a good amount of space, as Korok was able to farm in the bottom lane, and MSS was able to farm up in the mid lane. Now, NEL Goons will look to put the pressure on in the top lane. as they're at the tier 1. I Annihilate,
Dire's
sick and tired of
structures are
Korok
fortified.
just
Dire's
farming
top tower is under attack.
uncontested in the bottom lane, so he's going to TP down and put an end to that. But that leaves, well, his teammates up in the top alone. Well, not alone, but Bloody Nine's left them as well, so it's just the 3 of them. And now they're going to back away because they don't want the same thing to happen to them that happened to the North American Rejects. But Duty Free Derek getting caught with the glimpse right back into a Static Storm kinetic field, and that's, well, that was all thanks to an Observer Ward that was down here, which as soon as that glimpse came out, they realized, oh boy, drop the Sentry Ward. Let's counter that Observer Ward up.
Rock it on.
Now
Dire's
let's switch on over to the network and see what we got going here. Top 2 are actually on the side of NEL Goons, as the TA, a little bit of a lead, 6,900 net worth.
Radiant's top tower
And that's
is under
mainly,
attack.
actually a Helm of the Dominator. That's a little unusual for a TA, but the Yasha, then a Helm of the Dominators, where all her gold's gone. Phantom Lancer is going to be number 2. Ritsu's got the Yasha, and 1,900 gold. It's a lot of gold to have on hand. But our number 3 is Korok on the Lina, who has just finished a Yule Scepter's Bloody Nine. Searches again for another kill. Will he be able to find Fog Tier? I think he will. So he's going to use the lasso and pull him over here, but he's not going to be able to get back to his teammates as he's going to get stunned up by Korok. And then MSS is going to pop the ult and jump on in, but he's going to go down as a result. And now F4L is going to go down as well. Hookshot's going to come out from Chad onto Duty Free Derek. He won't get the Shallow Grave off, and now Chad's going to have to back away, but his teammates are close. So there isn't going to be any kind of pursuit coming out from NEL Goons. And when it's all said and done, we've got 2 heroes dead on the side of the NEL Goons. North American Rejects just lost 1, but it was their Spectre that they lost. So it's pretty, I mean, it is a 2-for-1, but it's not that far off from being an even trade. That kill on the Spectre, very, very important this early on in the game.
Shadow wave.
Take a look at the gold. 3,600 gold on the Spectre right now. If he didn't die, he would definitely have enough to buy his relic, which would put him that, well, I mean, it would put him that much closer to finishing a Radiance. So that death set him back a little bit, but they're going to need to get a kill on him very, very soon if they look to continually set him back, and I don't think it's going to be coming in time before he's able to farm an extra 100 gold. But he isn't sending the courier out, actually. He's going to do it right now as I say that. So he will be able to buy that relic as soon as he gets enough gold to do so. Well, he just got there. Now we see North American Rejects realizing that there's going to be a bunch of pressure applied to their Spectre, so they're all making a rotation up here. But this Observer Ward will give them a good amount of knowledge of what's going on. They can see that Bloody Nine's up there, but they don't see where the other heroes are. In fact, they're nowhere near the top lane. They can only see Ritsu, and they don't know that all the heroes are behind them, but they will catch out Bloody Nine here, who was, once again, popping that Firefly, playing a little aggressive, trying to go on those neutral camps, but he will get caught out thanks to the Yule Scepter from Korok, followed by a good chaining of skills to burst him down. Well, as we reach the 16-minute mark, let's take a look at our net worth chart and see where we stand. It's just over 3,000 gold lead for the NEL Goons, as they've been constantly increasing that lead throughout the game, but it has been a little up and down. But it still largely has been, in general, moving in their favor. As for the XP, about 3,000 XP in favor of the NEL Goons as well. Still, TA, our number 1 farmer. Second and third belong to the PL and the Lina. Spectre has now moved up to 4th, as he has managed to pick up that relic. Now he's sitting on 666 gold.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And that's going to put him close,
Dire's
but not quite there yet to finishing that Radiance. And once he gets that, he'll look to fight a little bit more, although the last fight he definitely wasn't afraid to hop on in. But certainly with the Radiance completed, he'll be a lot more willing to jump in. Speaking of jumping in, Bloody Nine just picked up his Blink Dagger. It's a little bit unusual that he chose to go with the Boots of Travel first, rather than the Blink Dagger. But when it's all said and done, 17 minutes into the game, he's going to have both items, so it's not really that big of a
Radiant's
deal.
bottom tower is under attack.
If anything, you could say now the Boots of Travel have just set him back from having that Force Staff. So, yes, he's going to be able to blink in and get a lasso off onto well, whatever target they're going for, but he won't be able to Force Staff himself back.
Tower is under attack.
And
Dire's top tower has fallen.
almost gets the stun off onto the Zeus before he's able to TP away. But one of the things that the Boots of Travels does is allow you to move around the map quickly, but also allows you to effectively farm a little bit faster as a result of your increased mobility. So you should be able to get your Force Staff up faster.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
But given that you're going up against a Disruptor, you're also going to need to get BKB. So it's kind of one of those investments so that you will be able to... Because typically, Bat Riders stall out once they finish their Blink Dagger and their Force Staff. Depending on how much farm they're able to really get, they typically stall out a little bit at that point in the game because they're looking to be a lot more active. But speaking of active, Annihilate's going to get glimpsed right back to the Tier 2 tower, and he's going to get stuck in that kinetic field. Static Storm's going to get laid down. That's going to be another kill for the North American Rejects, and that Disruptor really showing its value as Fogged, constantly picking off heroes on the enemy side, using that glimpse to, well, to its full effectiveness. As I still think that skill is just absolutely insane. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. Ritsu hopping up to the top lane and actually will push MSS back. He was farming the top lane as well, but he pushed that to the enemy tower. So now he's just going to hop into the jungle, and now it's Ritsu's turn to farm in the top lane. In the mid lane, Korok and Fogged putting some pressure on the Tier 1 tower, which the NEL Goons have been a little bit slow to respond to, and they're actually going to lose their not the racks, they're going to lose their Tier 1 tower. They didn't have Glyph available to them, and FRL almost got there in time to throw an auto attack off and get the deny, but he was still... His attack was just basically leaving his hero by the time the tower went down. Oh, Bloody Nine. Oops. Popped his Firefly. He's looking for at least grabbing one of these camps, or potentially grabbing one of these heroes, but he's not going to get in range to do so, or maybe he will, as Fogged could be in trouble here. Blink, followed by a lasso, but he's able to get the glimpse off. And that means Fogged will live another day, despite being slowed by the Sonic Trap from Annihilate. And now Annihilate's going to get tossed up in the air, and Fogged, the one who was getting ganked, turns around and helps Korok and Chad get a kill on the initial ganky, which was Annihilate. And that's unfortunately one of those situations that arose because of how Bloody Nine engaged on the Disruptor. It's very slight, but when he came from the side, first of all, Fogged had, I think, a little bit of vision of him, so he already reacted to saying, "Oh shoot, I'm gonna have to get the glimpse off here." But then Bloody Nine also blinked a little bit past him, so effectively the two heroes were back to back, and Bloody Nine would have had to turn around to get the lasso off. But we're gonna see the Thunder God's Wrath go off, and Spectre is gonna hop around, but he's gonna hop right back to the fountain because he's dead. But we've lost 3 heroes on the side of NEL Goons. Soon it's going to be 4. Fogged may take a fall first, but Duty Free Derek is quick to fall after. Ritsu's the only one left alive, but he's a one-man army, as he's going to drop, gosh darn it, as Korok, well, it's not going to be there in time to interrupt the TP coming up from Ritsu, and Chad was certainly not able to, as he was very low on HP and had basically 0 mana. It wasn't 0, I think it was like 1 or 2, but it was pretty much 0. He was a long way from being able to cast anything.
Dire's middle tower
It's a little bit of a crazy fight there. But Ritsu, already 21 minutes into this game, coming a little bit of a difficult hero to deal with for the side of North American Rejects. And part of that's, I guess, because they lost MSS so fast, so early in that team fight. The Radiants didn't really have time to be effective, and that's, that is the one downside to Spectre. Yes, you've gotten a Radiance. Yes, you can fight a little bit better. You can farm a little bit better, but you still don't really have those items that make you the super tanky Spectre that, well, we all know when it gets to late game he will become. But you got to get there. And the other thing that's actually great about tanking up on Spectre is the dispersion ability, which he only has 1 point into right now, which means he's gone for a lot more damage oriented build. But the dispersion, as you go later and later into the game, actually becomes probably one of his strongest scaling abilities, if not his strongest scaling ability. Because any damage you deal to him, he's just going to reflect back to you in an AoE. So obviously if you increase that Spectre's health pool by quite a large margin, that means whenever you get him, whenever you kill him, he will have dished out a lot more damage.
Dire's middle
We got a little
tower is
smoke
under
here
attack.
from the North American rejects. Doesn't look like they're going to find a target. As Duty Free Derrick and I Annihilate were the closest targets, but they were a row of trees and a cliff away. Now they'll look to move up to the top lane, maybe look to pick off Ritsu, as he was pushing the
Dire's
lane,
top
but
tower
now
is
he's sitting
under
in the
attack.
jungle on his way back. Bloody Nine's still farming. And this is a problem. Like now he's going to have his, or he's going to be finishing his Force Staff, which is great because he absolutely needs it. But he's kind of already starting to stall out a little bit. And like I said, the BKB is going to be very, very important for him to pick up. And he's certainly a long way from that.
Regeneration.
He's pretty close to finishing the Force Staff though.
Hey, where'd you go?
I Annihilate has finished an S and Y, so build that Yash into an S and Y, and now he's going for a BKB, just needs a recipe. Duty Free Derrick with the urn. Pharrell has picked up the Blink Dagger to go with his Tranquils. Ritsu has gone Boots of Travel, Manta, and Diffusal. Has another 800 gold on his hero. Blade 9 just 200 away from that Force Staff. And we just see I Annihilate finishing his BKB. But we've added a Vitality booster onto the Spectre and another
Dire's
2,000
middle
gold. So
tower
he's
is
probably
under
building
attack.
straight into a Heart as his next item. Fogged has the Yules and an Urn, so he's looking pretty good on the Disruptor. Of course, he's been a part of a bunch of kills thanks to the Glimpse. Chad with the Force Staff and the Blade Mail. Gosh darn it, just has his Tranquils and a Soul Ring. He's got the lowest net worth on the side of the North American rejects. And Korok
Dire's
has his
middle tower is
Yule
under
Scepter
attack.
and Egg Scepter, and he's now just added on a Blink
Dire's
Dagger as
middle
well.
tower has fallen.
Mid tier 1 just going down to I Annihilate, not being defended by the North American rejects. Now there we go, Force Staff will come out for Bloody 9. Now they've got to start picking off some targets. They do have the potential to pick off targets pretty easily. But now they're going to potentially go for Fogged here, and will Fogged be able to get the Glimpse off? They'll probably try one more time as he starts facing Bloody 9, trying to get the Glimpse off, but yeah, Bloody 9's not going to be able to get the pick off here. And great play from Fogged there to not get picked off. As he handled that situation perfectly, and look at this, he's on the hunt. He's running forward, trying to get a glimpse back. They used the flare coming up from the clockwork to spot out the opponents so that they would have vision to use the glimpse. But unfortunately, Fog not able to find a target there. This game's stalling out a little bit here as both teams just kind of farming. What are we waiting for? I don't know. We just had the BKB finish for I Annihilate. I'm just gonna quickly cycle through our heroes. I know I just went over the items, but it's not like we're gonna be hitting a timing or anything for the Radiant side. They just seem content with farming. So I Annihilate sitting in a meld with all the enemy heroes from the North American rejects roaming through his jungle, and he's gonna go on the Zeus and he's gonna 3-shot him now. Chad will look to go on I Annihilate, but I Annihilate pops that BKB. That means Chad can't really do anything to him. He will use the cogs to block him off. Bloody 9 did jump on in, but he got glimpsed immediately back. Now I Annihilate will get stunned up. And his teammates are a little far from him, but he's just going to go ham as he's going to drop the Spectre. But then the Laguna comes out from Korok and gets the return kill. Bloody 9.
Structures are fortified.
No, he won't continue chasing. He's already used lasso, so he's not going to have any way to bring him back to his teammates. While that was going on though, Ritsu just pushed the top lane, dropped the tier 2. And now he'll TP to the bottom lane and start farming that up. This is the advantage of having boots of travel on a carry this early on into the game. You can move around the map and take advantage of your opponent's rotations. As they were just trying to set something up on the Phantom Lancer there, but Ritsu not pushing up past this kind of mark, this river, and instead going back to his jungle, farming up the more safer locations on the map. Just waits for the jungle to respawn, and now he'll continue to farm it. But I do have to say, it is maybe a little surprising how passive the NEL Goons are playing right now. Obviously, they've tried to get a few pickoffs with Bloody 9, but they just haven't worked out for them. And maybe they need to start using some smokes to make these rotations. Seems like they've been spotted out a few times. Going for the ganks is. Oh, the smoke will definitely help them get a little bit closer. There are 4 heroes gathered here, and they will indeed smoke. And surprisingly, they've smoked without the Bat Rider. And ooh, they may actually just go straight into Roche. And there is an observer ward here from the Dire side that would have scouted them out had they not been smoked. But look at this immediately. Game sense. Flare comes flying in from the clockwork. They know exactly what's up. And now the NEL Goons, they're in an interesting position. Roche on very, very low HP, and they will actually just choose to go for him. And there we go. As Roche actually falls to the Spectre, but the Aegis does go on the side of the NEL Goons as I Annihilate picks that up. Ritsu getting Laguna'd, but he is shallow grave, but he's going to get right-clicked down by the Spectre, who's up onto the high ground with him there. As now the Spectre will throw his dagger and come down off that cliff and deal a good amount of damage to Duty Free Derek, but he won't be able to finish him off. As now some of these heroes on the NEL Goons in a little bit of an awkward position, including Duty Free Derek, who will go down as Korok's just going to blink forward and catch him out. But, oh, nice stun coming out from F4L. It'll land on 2, as that'll get them both a kill. That'll get them 2 kills for I Annihilate on Korok, and then on, gosh darn it, Chad in the jungle will get slowed down by Psionic Trap. As despite the fact that I Annihilate was essentially 1v2 there, feeling pretty confident, and with Bloody 9 TPing on into the bottom lane with those boots of travel, they're definitely right to back away. Well, another fight, another exchange, and another
bottom tower is under
pretty
attack.
even one. As, we'll take a look at our gold graph and see how it's gone thus far. About 3,500 gold in favor of the NEL Goons. XP a lot closer, but just over 1,000 XP in favor of the NEL Goons. But I mean, I can't help but feel like the NEL Goons they're ahead, but they're not ahead. You know, they're ahead in terms of gold and XP, but moving forward, I don't know. I feel like they could be doing much more. And it's just a matter of time that they're going to end up losing one of these team fights hard. And when that happens, they're going to have lost their net worth, and then they're going to be struggling, I think, to win some of these fights. But you never know. You know, there's some really strong execution that can come out from the side of North American Rejects. But at the same time, this PL has been farming like crazy.
Dark light.
So you can't count Ritsu out. We still await him to pick up his next item. He's got that ultimate orb, but he's already completed a Manta. So what is that ultimate orb going to build into? Scotty?
Dire's bottom tower
Sheep?
is under attack.
Manta? Or not Manta, Lincolns, I guess, would be the other option. Of course, he already has the Manta. He can't really build two. I mean, he could build two, but they would share a cooldown, so not really the wisest. It's Korok ventures on in to the Radiant jungle. He's actually just going to move to the bottom lane and farm up there.
Boom! There it goes.
Gosh darn it, using that lightning bolt to do a little bit of counter warding. And it's not actually counter warding, I guess counter psionic trapping. Just sounds a little bit more awkward when you say it like that. But he will get rid of that vision that the NEL Goons had inside the Roche pit to know exactly when Roche was going to respawn. But of course we know he's not that close to spawning, and of course the players know that he's not that close to spawning, as it's nowhere near the 8-minute mark yet since he was last killed. Bloody Nine pops that Firefly and looks for another engage onto Gosh darn it in the top lane, but he's way back. Unfortunately, Bloody Nine just not able to find the pickoffs this game. As oh wow, good play there from MSS, realizing that Bloody Nine was definitely going to be able to interrupt his TP, and instead he cancelled it himself and put himself in a position where he was going to be able to get away from that gank. And that, I feel like that's a play that 99.9% of players wouldn't have made. They would have still just tried to TP Allen out there. They would have got interrupted, and they would have been in a much worse position than had they been if they just canceled the TP and started running. To be honest, I think I probably would have kept channeling the TP. So I'm not in that 0.1% Bible thump.
Haste.
But who knows? 10k MMR chat probably would have. They would have just run away. Well, maybe 10k MMR chat would have just turned around and killed everyone. We'll never know. We got another ultimate orb picked up by Korok. He's got 2,900 gold on hand. He's going to be working towards a sheep stick. As with that, we'll actually cycle through all our items. We've got the Yules on the Disruptor, Spectre, Radiance, Manta, Vitality Booster. So he didn't complete the heart. He went for completing the Manta after getting the casual Vitality Booster. But now I think he'll look towards completing the heart. Chad, Force Staff, Blade Mail, Point Booster, working towards an Egg Scepter. Gosh darn it, almost done his Yule Scepter. I feel like he's been in this state for a while though. So hopefully he'll get that extra 250 gold he needs to complete it.
Boom!
As for our dire side, F4L was here. He was here at one point. Now it's just blood. As I think he got one shot. I think he actually got one shot.
Radiant's bottom tower has been denied.
Well, he does have Force Staff and a Blink Dagger, so he's got those mobility items. Nothing that's actually going to add towards his HP pool. And we kind of saw the effects of that. That Bracer's not going to save you from that.
Flares here.
Duty Free Derek still has the Urn and the Arcanes. Ritsu's picked up an Eye of Scotty. That's what to do with that second ultimate orb. Which I think is what we kind of expected. The Lincolns and the sheep were not very likely. Scotty makes a whole lot more sense. And, I don't know how the heck we just got into this view, but we're going to come out of it. As Bloody Nine did a little bit of an engage there, but he'll get glimpsed right back into the end of the kinetic field. As in the mid lane, Korok also getting a kill onto F4L, who just respawned. Oh boy. And now Korok will DC. Uh-oh. Don't say it. Don't say it. It's just a quick little DC. No, don't say it. Don't say it. It's just a DC. It's just a bug. He went to buy something and he had tangos stuck on his cursor. That's what happened. Look, he's rejoining already. See? Just a quick little quick little bug. It's definitely not that D word. Which isn't really a word. Oh my god. Well, we will rejoin and get going in this. I think he actually just crashed or something like that. But that's funny. He did just finish his sheep stick as well prior to that kill on FRL. But Bloody 9 was the hero that we were going to look at. He's almost done his BKB. And it's so important. We've seen the number of times he's got glimpses this game. He's died 7 times. 2, 7, and 5. That's not the kind of score that you want to have on a Bat Rider. And a lot of it is, frankly, a result of Fogged having control of that disruptor. He's been on point with those glimpses and his positioning and his kinetic fields. He's been on point with everything. Annihilate picked up a Daedalus some time ago, but also has an SNY as well as his BKB and Helm of the Dominator. Yes, Helm of the Dominator on TA. I think this is actually the first time I've ever seen that kind of build. This is where chat's just like, what the hell? Have you seen Dota before, Niz? What the hell are you talking about? This has been picked 736 times in competitive games before. You guys remember when I said, what the heck? The Shadow Fiend is picking up, I think it was Mech. Could it have been Mech? I think it might have been Mech. And I was just like, this must, like, this has got to be a first or something like that. And Indie Bear was on stats. And he just dropped it in. He just dropped it in the stats that had been done like 36 times or something prior to me saying that. It was not good. It's not my finest moment. I'm like, this has got to be like the first or second time it's happened in Dota 2. And the stat comes up and facepalm. The failfish IRL.
Invisibility.
Do it with flair.
Well, we await the respawn of Mr. Roshan, as that's going to be a highly contested target moving forward, as we still have the NEL Goons ahead. They've furthered their gap a little bit, sitting around 6,000 gold in their favor. XP's kind of been up and down all game long, but 2,500 or so in favor of the NEL Goons. We have both teams actually kind of grouping up at this point in the game, and I mean, it's 40 minutes in, but it's pretty obvious that both teams realize that Roche is going to become a very real target in the near future. Of course, the Radiant side knows that he has respawned, thanks to the Psionic Trap. Dire side doesn't know until now, as the Flare will spot it out. But they had a pretty good idea. It wasn't like Roche was a very fast spawn or anything like that. It's kind of a medium to late spawn. We will now have that BKB finished by Bloody 9. FRL just bought a gem, and I think that's going to go on Bloody 9, although no. Yeah, now he's going to blink back and pick it up, as it's just been dropped on the ground from the stash. And what did that courier just deliver? Ooh, it's going to be a Satanic for the TA. So this is where that Helm of the Dominator comes in. I guess Annihilate just realizing that he would be needing that later on in the game. And oh, we got a smoke here from the North American Rejects, as they're going to try to engage here. They're going to find Bloody 9, but he's able to pop the BKB. And he's going to force staff himself into them, as he's going to use the lasso off onto Korok. He will just Yules himself back up in the air. Annihilate managing to get the kill on the Clockwork. They're going after the Zeus as well. We need to hop on up here, as our Dazzle's going to go down. Korok able to clean them up, as I was trying to find MSS in that team fight, as he was jumping all over the place, and unfortunately the camera work was just poop, guys. I'm sorry. As we get a quad kill for the Spectre. As the North American Rejects, they only lost 3 that fight. As MSS was forced to TP away there, as he was getting right clicked down by Annihilate, And he had already gotten 4 kills, so he realized he wasn't going to be able to get the 5th on the TA. So he said, you know what, I'll just go back. No point risking it. We won the fight if I get out of here. But that fight was a little bit awkward for me. I didn't see exactly how we lost the PL so early on in that fight, but obviously that was a huge difference, as those 2 heroes between the Spectre and the PL are going to be very, very important at this point in the game, as of course both teams have devoted a lot of their farms to them. Despite the fact that I Annihilate is still the #1
Radiant's middle tower
highest net worth in the game, you still have to think that the PL is... he's just got that better scaling going later on into the game.
Radiant's middle tower is under
So
attack.
keeping him alive is going to be very, very important, as once again Korok getting another kill onto F4L in the mid lane. I feel like every time F4L is going to respawn, I should just lock the camera on Korok, because we're going to get Bloody 9 initiating onto MSS. But now we're going to have Chad jumping on in, laying down the cogs. Roche is getting kind of low. But oh my goodness, we're going to have the Spectre go down to start off this team fight. It's the complete opposite of what happened last fight, as now Duty Free Derek's going to get sandwiched between the 2 big burst damage heroes on the side of the Dire, and he's going to go down. I Annihilate, now after getting glimpsed, will try to chase down Korok and gosh darn it, but instead he'll just back away and join up with Ritsu, as they're going to hop into the Roche pit and claim that Aegis.
Radiant's top tower is
As
under
once
attack.
again, Roche falling to the side of the Dire. This time, gosh darn it, got the kill with his chain lightning. So we've seen the Aegis get snatched twice this game. But it wasn't really snatched, it was just a result of Roche going down. As gosh darn it's going to go down. And oh my goodness. Holy moly. Value buyback. Value buyback from MSS as he buys back, pops the ultimate, gets a double.
Radiant's top tower
Now, once
is under
again, we see the
attack.
Spectre and the TA squaring off. Zephyral now just respawned, made his way to the mid lane. He's going to feel a little bit safer this time around, as the Lina is going to be off the board for another 60 seconds. So F4L will have a little bit of breathing room. I Annihilate might not, as Fog going to chase him down, but never mind. I Annihilate is just going to turn around on him. Fog actually has a Ghost Scepter, will pop it. That'll keep him alive for a bit, but there comes the Yule Scepter. Static Storm is going to be on the TA. Chad jumps in, lays down the cogs, but actually pushes I Annihilate away rather than locking him inside. And now Chad's going to go down, as F4L and Duty Free Derek do the majority of the damage to the Clockwork there.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Mid tier 2 going down. DD available in the bottom rune. Will I Annihilate run over and pick it up? Looks like he will. I struggle to click on. There we go. Click on the line. He was going full Dota 1 Bounty Hunter. If you didn't play Dota 1, Bounty Hunter was
Dire's
impossible to
bottom
click
tower
on
is under
99%
attack.
of the time. His
Dire's
hitbox
bottom
for
tower
in
has
terms of
fallen.
collision, like when you were selecting him, was ridiculously low, and that was just like built-in part of the hero. It's like Ice Frog said, well, you know what, he's going to be a
Dire's
bounty
middle tower is
hunter, he's
under
going to be
attack.
running around, and we're just going to make it so he's just hard to click on and target spells. It was the most ridiculous thing ever.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Well, now we're looking to what is the NEL Goons going to do? They have the Aegis on their TA. The team fights are very hard to predict, very hard to read into. They do know that the Spectre's still on cooldown with his buyback. So there is a little bit of an opportunity there. But Spectre, prior to getting picked off at the start of that last fight, did just hit a little bit of a power spike when he completed the butterfly. Not sure what else we're going to be seeing coming out soon that's going to be a big item surge in strength. Is Korok actually getting close to finishing his refresher? In fact, he does have enough gold for it. So that could potentially come out right now. He's going to be saving his gold to make sure that he has buyback, though. So that's why he's not going to buy that right now. Bloody 9 will jump in, pop the BKB, get the lasso off onto Korok, bring him back. He'll get dropped down to about half HP with the finger, but Chad jumps in with the cogs, traps in F4L in the middle of that static storm, and he's going to go down. Now we're going to lose the TA. She's going to respawn in just a second here, but now she's trapped in the kinetic field. Doesn't look like she's going to be able to get away. She will get used up in the air. And now Shallow Grave will come through, but there comes Chad. Nice hook shot in, lays down the cogs, and well, that'll force them to use the force staffs to get on out of there. Chad will now use his to jump up onto the high ground. And NAR win that fight 2 for none. And on the back of that, Korok realizes that, well, I'm probably not going to need my buyback now on the after that fight, so he finishes his refresher. And now that means he'll just be able to kill F4L twice. Back to back. His hookshot's going to fly through from Chad. That's just to land onto Fog to get him closer to his teammates. The Ag Scepter means that'll be back up in just a second. In fact, second now. There we go, as it's up. They're smoked up, making their way into the Radiant jungle. Ritsu will just TP away. So he could sense that they're coming. He TP's all the way back to the fountain. And he's pretty damn close to 6 slotted. I mean, he is 6 slotted, but what do you look at replacing next? Do you replace the diffusal? I guess that's probably your weakest item at this point in the game, but the diffusal is very valuable. It helps you do a lot of damage when it comes to your illusions attacking things. You also have the charge of the diffusal to slow down the target, and he actually just brought in the recipe to upgrade that to diffusal 2. Of course, that refreshes the set of
illusion.
What do you want to call these? Charges. As his original set was back down to 6, but when you upgrade it the second time, you can't actually refresh the charges. You actually have to sell the whole diffusal and buy a new diffusal to get a fresh 8 charges. But given that he's only used 2 up until this point on his initial diffusal, it's probably going to take him a while before he's going to burn through those 8 charges on the diffusal 2. But who knows? Certainly in team fights a little bit later on in the game, like, well, 49, 50 minutes as we are right now, there's the possibility that you're going to be using 1, 2, sometimes even 3 charges in a single fight. Now, gosh darn it, we'll pick up a Veil. And that's actually quite significant. They've got a lot of magical damage that comes out on the side of this dire side, and the Veil is just going to help to amplify all of that. Especially when you have Korok, who's going to be throwing out 2 Lagunas in a team fight. Because do they know that Bloody 9's up here? Doesn't look like it. Korok stunning himself to keep the charges of Fiery Soul going. That's why he's doing that. He's not actually trying to stun himself or not predicting Bloody 9's going to go on him, but had that been the case, that would have been absolutely ridiculous. That's not what we see. And then a whole bunch of pings come out as Korok making his way down past the secret shop. Now he's even going to get pinged out by the Radiant side. Because now they just saw Korok go all the way down there and it was pinged out, and they said, hey, what is this guy doing? He doesn't have a TP. So now he'll actually go to the side shop and he'll sell his phase boots and buy a TP to TP on up there. And then he's just going to buy brown boots, meaning that he still has, oh, actually doesn't have enough for buyback, 375 gold away. So if he dies here before he gets any gold, he won't be able to buy back. There's Chad just getting completely demolished by Ritsu and his illusions. Now North American Rejects will look to re-engage. They get the glimpse off onto Ritsu, trap him in the kinetic with the static storm. But Shallow Grave's going to be there to keep him alive for a bit, but he'll go down as soon as that wears off. And will they at least get the racks before they go on out? Annihilate's trying to focus them down to make sure that they do. 50 HP, and they will go down. Korok just refreshed. The second Laguna is going to go out onto the Templar Assassin. Duty Free Derek's going to go down after his second shallow grave of the team fight ended. And now Glimpse going to bring Bloody Nine all the way back. He's going to drop a gem on the floor. And it's all 5 heroes for the side of the NEL Goons that have gone down, but they did get the melee racks. They did have that going for them. But they only got 1 kill in that fight. Is that right? I never saw the fight recap coming up, but yeah, there's
Regeneration.
no buybacks. Just the 1 kill. That's all they got. Well, I guess you can't put it all on Spectre, but Korok and co, they're still winning these
Radiant's
fights.
middle tower is under attack.
They're still winning these fights. It was a little bit disorganized from the NEL Goons in that fight,
Radiant's
but
middle tower has fallen.
it took advantage of the fact that Korok had made that
Radiant's
rotation
top
down
tower
through the
is
jungle,
under attack.
realizing he didn't have a TP, didn't have any way to get up there,
Radiant's
and
top
used
tower
it so
has
that they
fallen.
could get drop the tier 3 and put themselves in a good position for a team fight. But as we saw, it didn't really work out for them. They did get the melee racks though, and that's very, very important. Now pings are going to come out on the
Radiant's
Roche.
middle tower is under
Both
attack.
teams will know it's available, as the Psionic Trap will spot out for the Radiant, and the Flare will fly out at the right time and scout it out for the North American rejects on the Dire side.
A gift from the Tempest of Battle.
Now we're seeing a bunch of Boots of Travel coming out, as Annihilate will add Boots of Travel to his arsenal. He's also picked up an MKB since we last checked in. FRL hasn't really picked up anything. Thunder God's Wrath going out, and that's actually going to scout out these Dire Heroes. As Annihilate's going to look to re-engage, but Korok drops Bloody Nine, and now we're going to have another glimpse, sending Annihilate back. Now Ritsu's going to try to chase down Chad, who will just hookshot to a teammate, which is actually the Spectre, who's right next to Bloody Nine, and Bloody Nine looks like he will eventually get that kill onto Chad. Duty Free Derek also going down now. The Spectre has Haunted, and he's going to jump around the team fight. Then Glimpse is actually going to save Bloody Nine in this situation, bringing him away from the heroes. Annihilate trying to focus down Korok. Won't be able to get to him, but Ritsu will. So he'll be able to finish that kill off, and now Spectre will take a fall as well. We had a buyback from Korok as he's TP'd down in and is going to rejoin with a double stun onto Annihilate and Ritsu. That's going to maybe delay Fog's death a little bit. But Korok will be able to get away, and now we had a buyback from MSS as he's TP's back to the bottom lane with the Spectre, as they're going to look to re-engage, and they know exactly where Ritsu is, and he's going to get sheeped up as Korok's going to blink on in, follows that up with a Light Strike Array, and then Laguna. Now Annihilate came on in as well, and he could be in trouble here as well, as he's just going to go down. No need to refresh the Laguna for Korok. And now the Gem of True Sight, which was lying on the ground for so long there, will get claimed by the Radiant Courier. It flies in, picks it up, and flies back home. As neither the Spectre nor the Lino were going to be able to pick it up with the items they had on hand. Now the Courier will fly around looking for the gem. Oh, it's trying to pick up the other one. As the Courier's going to take a little bit of damage there from the creeps, but it picks up the second gem. So now both teams effectively have a gem, and in the top room, Duty Free Derek did just picked up a bounty room, but got zapped by Korok. And in the mid lane, F4L went down to the Spectre. And what is F4L's score right now? 2-12-12. He's having a rough game. He's having a little bit of a rough game. But Bloody Nine's also having a rough game. 2-12-13. The two of them haven't really been able to do much. They've been struggling a little bit. They were struggling early, and it hasn't really looked up for them the entire game. But MSS and Korok, both of them are really starting to kind of take over in this game and really have a strong presence in the fights. Annihilate 16-7-3 also kind of keeping up with them in terms of participation, but you know, he's part of 19 of 31 kills, whereas the Spectre, I mean, Spectre's going to be really high, 36 of 45, but the Lena is probably the biggest one. As I struggle to do math here, but it's 32 of 45.
Double damage.
Now we're going to have a refresher orb getting picked up by the Spectre. Wow. Going to allow him to haunt twice in the fights. I wonder... He may actually never put that on his hero. Especially certainly when he has the Aegis. So in the team fight, he's going to be holding on to the Aegis. He'll die. He'll come back up. He'll fight. He dies. He buys back. Refresh and jumps in again. I don't know. Yeah, it's going to fly back. I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to buy back, pass it to him, refresh, put it back on the courier or whatever, and then TP. Or then we'll TP with his ult. We'll see a smoke coming up for the side of the NEL Goons. As they're going to check Roche, but they're actually just going to walk into place an observer ward. And the cheese which got left there gets picked up. Fast pause, says Bogged for the NEL Goons. This isn't internet related. Thankfully. Crisis averted. Oh no, I can't see the end of the graph. We can see XP, largely in North American Rejects' favor. 58 minutes in doesn't really mean a damn thing. Gold graph. We know it's no more than 6,000 gold in the North American Rejects' favor. In fact, it's probably pretty close to 0 right now. I say that when I can just look at the numbers down here. So we actually know it's 1,630 in favor of the North American Rejects. So still very, very close, but even still, that doesn't really have the biggest impact on the game moving forward. Bring the items up so you guys can take a look at that. I'm going to actually mute my mic for a second and take a sip of water. This has been a little bit of a long one. I'm feeling it. So bear with me. Back into this as we've got the pause resumed.
Coming in.
So now Roche will be reclaimed, or the Aegis will be reclaimed in 2 minutes.
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
As North American rejects have to go and defend in their top lane as they've already lost that melee Rax, which means naturally the Radiant creeps are going to be pushing in that lane, so they're going to constantly have to send someone up there to defend and push the wave back. Both teams playing it a little bit safe here. And I think we're going to have to wait until Roche is up again. I don't know. Maybe the North American rejects will try to force something. Indeed, they're going to smoke up here. They do have that Aegis for, I forget exactly what the time is, but maybe just over a minute left. So if they're going to force it, they're going to need to do it soon. But here's the problem. Top lane's naturally pushing. Ritsu was able to push up bottom pretty far. Now Thunder God's Wrath will come out. It'll spot out that all the heroes for the NEL Goons have already retreated back to their base. All 5 of them are up on their own high ground. That means they have successfully dodged the smoke gank. Courier just flying around. Will, what? I mean, it should be delivering the refresher orb to the Spectre as soon as the Aegis goes down, I imagine. It's gonna be soon. Where's this courier going?
And it's off.
I don't know. But it's in a very vulnerable position right now.
Coin.
Well, looks like we're gonna have to wait here for a little bit. There we go.
Boom.
Aegis gets reclaimed. It's gonna be 3.5 minutes till we get Roche, which should put us right at 64 minutes, I believe. So he didn't deliver that. Maybe he's going to be hiding it from his opponents. No, okay, now he'll deliver it. And Korak will finish an AC. But a weird series of events there, but it all makes sense now as the Ogre Club's going to get picked up for Fogged as well. Building towards a... Well, I mean, Egg Scepter would be good.
Do it with flair.
What are you really going to use it on? All the BKBs are really short times for the most part. You would be able to at least stop the BKB from coming out. Maybe stop the satanic use as well. BKB would be pretty valuable too. Eggs is probably going to be the more valuable one overall. BKB is not really going to keep you alive. Most of the damage coming out from NEL Goons at this stage in the game is going to be physical.
Rock it on.
Take a look at those items on Korak. My goodness, that's a big Lena. And she's only the 4th most farmed hero in this game.
Boom, there it goes.
Well, it's just a matter of time as both teams just kind of sitting back farming, not really trying to make any risks here, or not willing to take any risks. Bloody 9 will pop the Firefly, and this is kind of how it's gone all game. Looking, but not finding. Kill really struggled to have an impact on this game. Most of his impact has actually been quite negative, as he's been constantly getting picked off when he's tried to engage. So park himself up onto the pillar here. He's got a gem, so he knows there can't be an observer ward up there. As Ritsu continues to farm, I mean, this guy's... You're too big. Farming isn't going to do anything for you. What are you going to buy? I mean, technically, you can start buying items that you're going to put on the courier and start swapping in. But that doesn't really help you all that much when you're on the offensive. I mean, you can fly out the courier across the map. It looks like we
Dire's
might
bottom
have
tower is under attack.
the NEL Goons forcing something here as they're going to put some pressure on the tier 3, and then TP response is going to come out from the North American rejects, and, well, the NEL Goons are just going to leave, and they said, no, let's go defend our tier 2. Or tier 3 in the top lane. Spectre, TP's out. Roche going to be respawning soon. It's pretty important. You have to, like, as you take a look at the minimap right now, Ritsu's pretty far. Pharrell's pretty far as well. With this Roche respawning basically now, and the flare I think will wear off before they're able to see that Roche is up. And this doesn't see. In fact, neither team has seen that this Roche has spawned. But he has spawned, and the NL Goons are still pretty far.
Jackpot.
Swiftly
Like, this
to the
lion
temple's
has no way
defense.
of getting there. And they should know that. They should be able to see right now. How is that lion going to get there? He's got nowhere to TP to. He's really far away. On top of that, the PL is up here as well. He can get down there. He can TP to a few things with his boots of travel. But now the NEL Goons will have to respect it. They'll go back and defend.
And it's off.
So maybe that was a little bit of an opportunity for them to go for Roche. Maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity, but instead they'll choose to go back and defend. Walk 2-piece to the bottom lane. Keep those fiery soul stacks going. He basically has infinite mana with the items he has. Chad jumping on in, jumps to the creep wave, which means he uses the cogs to push Ritsu back towards well, the Clockwork's allies. And now we are going to have the Spectre pop in the ultimate. Well, we have a battle between Ritsu and MSS. Doesn't look like it, not yet at least, as MSS has jumped into the whole clump of NEL heroes. He's already gotten 2 kills. As he's going to go after Bloody 9 now, try to chase him down. He's going to switch off to Annihilate. The refresher has been popped. And now hookshot coming in from Chad will catch Bloody 9. There's just 2 heroes left alive, and that's Ritsu and the Dazzle, but the Dazzle's a long way away. So we will lose Ritsu. And the last standing member is Duty Free Derek, who did buy back. As he went down, I think he was the first hero that went down on the side of NEL Goons right after MSS popped the ultimate on the Spectre. And with that, they'll take Roche. But as we've seen previously, just because they had Roche, just because they had the Aegis doesn't mean they're going to look to push and end the game. As the refresher will go back onto the courier, and the Aegis will go on the Spectre. And
Dire's top barracks
it's
are
actually
under attack.
unreal how little damage Spectre would do to a Roche. I mean, this is a big Spectre, but it doesn't really do that much damage when it's on a non-hero target. Oh, missing a kill in the mid lane is Korok.
Roshan has fallen
Binding.
to the Dire.
Duty Free Derek, a little out of position there. Or maybe a lot out of position. As Roche goes down, MSS, or perfect time, will pick up
Dire's
the
middle
Aegis.
tower is under attack.
Look at this top lane, just pushing naturally. Range Rakkus is down, a couple of the money huts are down, and this tier 4 is taking a licking. Ooh. He was getting pretty close to going down there as well, and then gosh darn it got close enough for the Arc Lightning. And now we will have an engage here, as Pharrell is going to get opened up on, and he's going to go down to start all this off. Glimpse is going to go off on Blade 9. Didn't really move him much in the end, but he will pop the BKB, get the lasso off on Korok, try to bring him back to his teammates, but not able to get him quite to Annihilate, who will get tossed up in the air with the Yules. And now, Korok taking a bunch of damage. He'll go down. Ritsu is charging forward. Korok will actually buy back. Doesn't have anywhere to TP to that's going to get him close to here. He'll have to TP way down by the tier 1 in the mid lane. Chad went down as well. He'll buy back. And now we're going to see the ultimate get popped by MSS as he's going to try to chase down Bloody 9. Flame Break will knock him back, but not back far enough. No, actually it will. His Eye Annihilate's going to be there. Korok, though, blinking on in. He uses the Laguna. That'll drop Eye Annihilate, who will buy back immediately into the game. This is a game of buybacks now, as we should actually switch on over that to buybacks in the top left, so we have an idea who has what left. And I think that's it.
Dark light.
North American Rejects will just back away. Neither team able to end this game.
Incoming.
We do still have buybacks available on 5 heroes after all that. It felt like everyone bought back in that team fight. So all these heroes are actually ridiculously farmed. We have 11,000 gold on Spectre right now. What does Ritsu have? He's at 2,800, but he's already banked his Manta so that he can buy an Abyssal. Fogged has the eggs finished. Chad. That's a pretty big clockwork. Travels, eggs, Force Staff, Blade Mail, Ghost Scepter, and Cheese.
And it's
Gosh
off.
darn, it's even picked up a sheep stick on the support Zeus. Ephrael, despite the fact that he's almost been constantly dying, has his Blink, Force, and Ghost Scepter. Eye Annihilate's been kind of finished with his item progression for a while. And you know, I mentioned the Bat Rider stalling out and not really getting much farm after a specific point. Well, we haven't seen Bloody 9 make any kind of item progression. He's got a Perseverance to add to his arsenal, but that's not really much. Duty Free Derek. You got a feel for him. Support in this position. Arcane Boots and an Urn. So what's his net worth? 3,800. It's a long way from 3,800 to 9,700. But here we go. MSS pops the ultimate. He's going to jump on in. Chad's going to jump on in as well with the hook shot. Duty Free Derek in trouble. He's going to go down. But where is the Spectre? As he's going to be focusing down Bloody 9, and Bloody 9 will tick out to the Radiance. As, oh my goodness, they've just gotten kills on everyone here. And now all the TPs come back as Ritsu was in the Dire base, but he's going to get punished for it as he took one tier 4, the second tier 4, very close to going down, 26 HP left on it. Courier even went down in the middle of that. But NEL Goons lose 5 more. It looks like North American Rejects will just march down the mid lane. There are 3 buybacks available, the Bat Rider, the Lion, and the Phantom Lancer can buy back.
Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
Of course, we will get a buyback from the Lion and the PL.
Cannot kill all
The
of us.
Radiant's middle barracks
Templar
has fallen.
Assassin is still on cooldown.
Into the fight. Boom.
In
there
fact,
it
the Dazzle's on
goes.
cooldown too. So, Bat Rider buys back as well. I don't think they'll be able to engage here and stop this. Bloody 9 will try to engage though, as he's going to bring back Korok in the lasso. Now Ritsu's committed, but everyone else on his team's kind of backing away. Maybe he's been left off. No, he's actually going to be okay. Chad's the one who's getting quite low, and oh, there's the cheese coming out. Gonna heal him right back up to full. And now Ritsu will just barely get out of that kinetic field. Shallow Grave will be on him, but he's going to get glimpsed right back in. And he's going to go down, and with no buyback left on the Phantom Lancer, this is not looking good for the NEL Goons, as they're going to lose F4L as well. Bloody 9's about to go down. We've got the Dazzle flying high. Now he's flying dry. Or high and dry, or I don't know what that saying is, but either way, he's dead. And no one left alive for the side of NEL Goons. We've got the TA respawning in 10 seconds, but she's going to respawn to well, no tier 4 towers.
Radiant's bottom barracks
And a very
has
exposed and naked throne.
fallen. Radiant's middle tower has
Will she be able to
Radiant's bottom
defend?
barracks has fallen.
She's going to get sheeped up immediately as she gets close to that Zeus, and the throne's taking quite a beating here. We're going to get a Rapier getting purchased by MSS, and there we go. The game will finally end as the North American Rejects will take it. And this was their final game in Group D. as they move to 2-1 is their final record in the group. Unfortunately, losing that one game, the top 5, I'd say largely due to some DDoSing issues. NEL Goons start off their run in the group at 0-1, unfortunately. Where they'll join Void Boys at 0-1 as well. And of course, top 5 sitting at 1-0. But the North American Rejects, they're done with their games. Tomorrow we'll start off at the same time to finish off the rest of the group. That'll be at 7:30, and we'll be starting off with the Void Boys against top 5. Then we'll have the Void Boys up against the NEL Goons, and then top 5 off. Then top 5 against the NEL Goons. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. And that'll round out the night. All the match times are going to be exactly the same tomorrow night as they were tonight. Hopefully, we won't have the delays, which means that all the matches will start on time. But I guess that remains to be seen. But either way, we will be back again tomorrow. So if you care to, you should come back and watch those games, because there should be some good ones. And if you enjoyed the cast, definitely hit that follow button on twitch.tv/NizCast. If you didn't, let me know why you didn't, as I always love to hear the feedback. Also, hit me up on Twitter at NizCast. Also, I have upload all my VODs to youtube.com/NizCast, so you can go back and check those out if you care to. But that's going to be it for me tonight. I am absolutely exhausted, and I need a much-needed break, so I'm going to go lie down. And maybe you have too. Some of those, I think some of those pauses in Game 2 might have put some people to sleep. But if that's the case, and you still have your headset on, good night, sir. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.